So I was just thinking to myself, I figured maybe I could start by doing something that no one else I has been doing, because I personally I know that I don't know every technique top to bottom, but they're using. Why not? Players who are maybe new to Call of Duty, people who are new to FPS games in general, perhaps. So today, I think I want to go over some basics and what the game is, what people, for people who never played FPS games before. For those of you who do not know, FPS stands for first person shooter. These are games where your character is in a first person point of view, so you are the character. Let's see. What are the games that aren't VR? Um, there's also shoot, Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge is also a first-person game. Unless you're playing on the mobile device, then it's a side scroller. Um, but yeah, that is the in essence what a first-person game is. Going from there, a first-person shooter is just any first-person game that requires you to shoot on a normal basis. So the whole game encompasses being in first person and shooting enemies or sometimes even allies if you're playing in a side notes. So Modern Warfare has been out for maybe about 8 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. Um, and it is a first-person shooter that is not harshly monetized. They have a store in which you can support them by buying cosmetic items only, mind you. Um, Many people accuse them of making a solution. Okay, I'm back on air, I guess. I'll have to just record this. Okay. Okay, so now we're recording and streaming, just in case that the stream just says screw you and doesn't want to work. So, for the video, I'm basically going over the basics of an FPS game. An FPS game is a game in which you are in first-person point of view. You are playing as the character that you are running around with, and you are shooting enemies or allies depending on how the campaign goes for certain games. But you are primarily shooting enemies, enemy targets, and killing them. I guess that's a half decent way to describe a first person shooter. Gotta make this quick. So, Modern Warfare is a fairly good first person shooter game. It came out about 8 months ago, and it's not harshly monetized or anything like that. Monetization is the way the game makes money. It is, I believe it costed $60 it came out. And you also have a way to support the game by purchasing cosmetic items through the store. But that is the gist of the monetization in particular for this game. But we aren't here to really discuss that. Today we are here to discuss how to actually play a first-person shooter. So I'm playing on a control. So a PC controls are going to be different than a controls. Ha 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 ha. Controls. Anyway, so this is if you're a PC gamer and you're playing this, I will have to maybe do a separate series for this. But I am playing on PlayStation 4, and I'm going to be teaching you how to use a controller to play this game. So, pro tips. First thing you want to do is go into your options, and this tab will pop up, your controller tab. Now, really, it's up to you what you want to use, but I really recommend learning how to play with a tactical button layout preset. Now, your default button layout lets your R3 be your melee. Your R3 is your right stick, your right thumbstick, and when you click down on it, that's your R3, and that would be your melee. Also, tactical would make it so that your circle button is your melee, which is normally where your crouch is. And then your R3 becomes your crouch or prone or slide button, which will be better for you. So set that up now. You're going to want to have your control with a tactical button layout because you're going to be crouching, proning, and sliding in this game a lot more than you will be meleeing. Unless you're these knives only, TKO, or Unseeable Ninja. Yeah. So, continuing onward. You can set up your horizontal stick sensitivity and vertical stick sensitivity however you want. Personally, I like to keep mine at a 15-14 or a 15-13, just depending on the day. But you can set it up however you are comfortable with. I do recommend having your sensitivity to be at least 10 or over 10, though, because otherwise you're going to be turning super slow. You won't be able to react to enemies very fast at all. So I recommend getting used to a higher sensitivity. It doesn't have to be 20 or anything like that, but make sure that is at least 10 when you're getting used to a sensitivity. That way you can understand how to aim. And what speed you're aiming at. Another thing that you want to do when you're going through your controls, you want to disable controller vibration. Somebody throws a stun nade at you, a stun grenade at your character. Your whole controller will vibrate, and your screen will be just bleh. If someone throws a flashbang at you, same thing. Your controller will vibrate, your screen will be completely white because it is a flashbang instead of a stun nade. Stun nades slow your aiming speed as well. So, disable controller vibration. It will help you a lot more than it will hurt you, and with controller vibration, it's also just one more signal that your control has to send, or your PlayStation has to send to your controller, or your system has to send to your controller. So cutting that out of the equation actually helps your input lag a little bit, but just a very, very, very small amount. I recommend keeping the aim response curve type. I will make future videos explaining what these two response curve types are. The way a standard response curve is just a simple power curve. It just is an exponential curve. The further you push, just diagonal. Imagine a diagonal line going straight up. So it's like standard, but on steroids. Linear is a very, very consistent speed. Standard's a little bit better in linear, in my opinion, because then you can make those fine-tuned movements when you just want to move your controller a little bit, or to move your aim a little bit. Same thing with aim assist. I'll go over. I'll make another video explaining how the aim assist works in this game. Standard aim assist has been in Call of Duty for a very long time. When you are hip firing, standard aim assist will follow the target slightly. So it'll make standard aim assist will make it a lot easier when you're hip firing. So you won't have to you won't have to track your target as much when you're hip firing a weapon as you would when you're using precision or focusing. Again, I will go over that in another video. But for now, keep it at standard aim assist. This will be the thing that you will want to use until you decide, I want to do quick scoping, and then you can go for those other two, which for the most part, you probably won't be doing quick scoping if you are starting out on this FPS for your first time. We got weapon mounting. We aren't messing with any of that. Okay, so that's kind of preference. Okay, so movement for your control. The slide behavior on your controller, it is primarily set to hold. This means that while you're running, if you're on a tactical button set layout, if you hold your R3, then you will initiate a slide. Now, the great thing about holding for slide is that you will be able to go prone a little bit quicker than someone who would have tap to slide. So this is preference, but if you're going to play aggressively, I recommend you having your slide behavior set to be tap, because you'll be able to stop yourself mid-slide a lot easier than you would with the hold slide behavior. So depending on what you want to do, I would recommend having tap as your slide behavior rather than hold. Okay, automatic sprint. You don't have to have this on. I personally like to have it on because your sprint button is your L3. So just like you have a clicky stick for your right thumbstick, this is your left thumbstick. So I personally wear out my left thumbstick a lot faster if I do not have a automatic sprint on. You might be different. You might prefer to click your stick in order to sprint. It's a lot better when you're using shotguns because your sprint to fire speed on shotguns can be kind of crap. So it's a little bit better for shotguns if you just used no automatic sprint, because walking with shotguns has been proven time and time again to be better than just straight up sprinting with shotguns. However, again, if you feel like you're going to wear out your thumbstick a lot, or you just get tired of clicking that left thumbstick over and over and over again just to sprint, automatic sprint is for you. We will go over tac sprint. You can turn it up to automatic tactical sprint. Tactical sprint in this game is just a slightly sprint. The tac sprint in this game only lasts for a short amount of time. I think it's 4 seconds and 8 seconds if you have specific perks. Or if you're carrying a combat knife. So it's a very, very short burst of extra speed compared to your sprint. You have unlimited sprint in this game. So, a good thing to do is to go into your audio mix. It will be set to Studio Reference. Studio Reference has, well, a lot of background noise, and you can hear footsteps fairly well, but I recommend rolling with either dynamic home theater or home theater. Home theater is a little bit better to cut out excess noise and background noise, like, for example, a train going over tracks above your spawn, or let's see what else, or ocean, or I don't know if birds chirping pine or not, but birds chirping, anything that's excess noise, any water running, anything. It cuts all that out, and, well, not completely, but it cuts most of it out, so that way you just hear footsteps a little bit better, and you can also hear gunshots a little bit better. So it'll be easier for you to hear what you need to hear versus just the ambience of the game and of certain maps. Music volume. If you like music, I get it. I like music too. But if you're hearing this throughout your entire match, it can overpower the sound of some footsteps, as well as some gunfire, especially at the last 10 seconds of the game. So I prefer to keep the music volume off, even though it is a beautiful soundtrack. It's better to keep it at 0 when you're playing online, or competitively. Not that you would be if you're just starting an FPS game. Same thing with dialogue, I keep it low. Effects volume is everything from footsteps to ambience in the level or in the map, to your gunfire. It's all of that stuff. You want to keep this up pretty high. Probably keep it at 100, because otherwise it's just like changing your master volume down. Just keep effects volume at 100 at all times. Juggernaut music, you don't have to worry about that. For hitmarker sound effects, if you've been in a Modern Warfare game before, Classic is amazing. If you're new to Modern Warfare and new to FPS games in general, this might not completely matter to you now, but I recommend playing around with them, which one you like more. Personally, I like Classic more because it's a little bit easier to hear. It's just a personal preference here, but I definitely would recommend doing this. As for voice chat and muting, don't worry about it. It's fine. More tracks as a passenger. Okay, well, you don't have to do anything with that either. I haven't even heard of that. Make sure your brightness is set correctly. Going over to general from audio. Make sure your brightness is set correctly. Make sure the center is just barely visible in your vision. If it is anything more than barely visible, your game will be whited out. Your vision will be whited out, and even more so when you get flashbanged, and your whole screen will go white, and you will be blinded if you're playing in the dark, like I do, alone. Make sure that the image on the right is easily visible, so it doesn't have to be white like some people think. It just has to be, you have to be able to see the logo. Safe area is super important too. Make sure it is at the edges of your screen, like so. Make sure your arrows are at the edge of the screen. It's okay if you see a little bit of white on your screen, just try to keep it as clean as possible. The safe area tells the game where to put your heads-up display to display what your ammo is, how many lethal grenades or tactical grenades you have, how much field upgrade is charged, where your minimap's gonna go. It tells the game all of that. The safe area tells the game where to put your HUD, your heads-up display. Film grain, turn it all the way down. You don't need it. In fact, this really hurts you having film grain. You will not be able to see people at longer ranges if you have any film grain. Having film grain bad. It makes it look more cinematic. So, to be fair, if you're just playing this game to play the campaign, film grain is fine. But if you're playing this game to play online and you want to get better at the game, turn film grain all the way off. Turn it all the way down. Because you will be able to have way better vision without film grain. Tool tips. Since you are new to the game, go ahead and activate it. Having head tooltips is pretty great. It'll explain to you what you need to do. There's also a tutorial in the campaign that you do right before you actually get into the campaign. Playing the campaign is a great way to learn how to play the game. It will not teach you all of the nuances that I am going through with multiplayer specifically. However, having tooltips enabled during the campaign, super helpful. If you are colorblind, obviously make sure that you can see all three of these numbers. If you still cannot see all three of these numbers when you are going through your colorblind modes, that's fine. Just stick with whichever works best for you. Deuteranopia is probably my favorite, not because I can't see the normal no colorblind filter, but because with Deuteranopia, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Deuteranopia, yeah, that's probably close. Deuteranopia. With Deuteranopia, the colors are a little bit more vibrant. So, me being able to see more colors means I will be able to see in shadows a little bit better, stuff like that. I'll be able to see my enemies a little bit easier. Colorblind target, if you are colorblind and one of these works best for you, here's another big thing. And this is for campaign and multiplayer. And anybody who has motion and gets motion sickness really easily. If you get a headache from looking at the screen because, oh god, my character is spinning and the whole world is spinning with him, this said, you need to turn the world motion blur and weapon motion blur off. You can see on these side-to-side comparisons the huge difference that is made by having this disabled. And yes, that is actually what the world will look like if you have it enabled and you're spinning. Minimap shape. Circle reveals a smaller area of your map. Square reveals more of your map. It's more personal preference stuff, but square means more information for you. It means more information that you can look at. You can tell where enemies are a little bit easier by looking at your mini-map. And for those of you who are completely new, mini-maps will show you what the map looks like from a top angle view, and it will give you a little bit of information as to what the map has in it. Alright. Alright. Minimap rotation. Keep it enabled. Compass cardinal direction text. It is defaulted to letters. I recommend keeping it at numbers, because not everybody knows which way is north, east, south, or west. Some people do. Most people don't. Trust me, I am experienced in playing this game with other people who do not know their cardinal directions of north, south, east, or west. So it's just easier to call out numbers on your compass, which is displayed on your heads-up display at the very top of your screen. Okay, now let's continue on, and we'll actually get into a private match so I can explain how this works. For now, we're just going to set up bots. For those of you who didn't watch me just do that. From this screen, you can go down to private match trials and game battles. You can either select custom game or local game. I will select custom game for now. After selecting custom game, you want to go to game setup. Hackney Yard is incredibly easy to learn the game on. So we will just stick with that. And bump your bot difficulty down to recruit. And I will do the same here just to show you the basics, the bare bones minimum of what you have to learn. You can have however many enemy bots you want. For now, let's start with 3. Let's keep it small. So you'll be up against 3 enemy bots. All of them will be recruits, which means all of them will be doing nothing but hip firing. Oh, actually, yes. Go into game rules. Since you are practicing, here are the settings I recommend. Set your time limit to unlimited, so go all the way down or up until your time limit hits unlimited. Take your score limit and then pump it up to 100 points or 150 points. Make your match start time to be 5 seconds. If you go any lower than 5 seconds, then it will just jump to 60. So just keep it at 5 seconds. This helps your amount of time that it takes for your character to load into the match. Skip infill is enabled. And yes, we don't have to mess with any of this other stuff. So for now, this is good. We got 3 bots. We're on Hackney Yard. And let's hop over to weapons. Now, in online multiplayer, you can unlock... not everything is going to be unlocked for you. You will have to go through and earn certain weapons and unlock them as you level up your rank. As you can see, I am rank 119 up in the top right corner of my screen. So you can see that I'm rank 119. I have everything unlocked. I believe you have to be at rank 55 in order to have everything in the game unlocked. Obviously, there are DLC weapons. DLC weapons you can earn in the game by completing certain challenges in multiplayer. With DLC, however, in this particular game, you will have them available to you even if you did not buy the Battle Pass. If you are in custom games, you will have all of these DLC weapons available to you. So it is not like Call of Duties of the past, where you have to buy the DLC weapons separate from the game. The Grau 5.56, the CR56 AMAX, and 94 of assault rifles, they are all DLC weapons, as is the Ram 7. The Ram 7 is also a DLC weapon. So let's start with something very basic. I'm going to go into my tester class here, and I'm going to get... You know what? Yes, we will start with the Kilo 141. Just the base Kilo. And we will start with the base X16. Maybe. There we go. So, to make things a lot easier for you, all we're going to do is we're going to grab a good old Claymore. We're going to grab the heartbeat sensor, which can be constantly used over and over again. We'll grab Tune Up, and we'll just keep a hold of Restock. And for your perk 1, this is in perks. For your perk 1, you can take Cold Blooded, which will make it so that the AI for the bots that you're going up against will have a little bit of a harder time seeing you. For your restock, for your perk 2 rather, you will want Restock. Restock replenishes your equipment over 25 seconds. Your equipment is your Claymore and your heartbeat sensor. Heartbeat sensor has unlimited usage. It can be used no matter what. That is why I chose the heartbeat sensor for you. This is a good way to explain how the heartbeat sensor works, and also how your mini-map works. So that's the heartbeat sensor, and that's the Claymore. Restock lets you recharge Claymores. Following me so far? Okay, hope you are. Tune Up helps reduce the charge time of your field upgrade. So now that your class here is set up, I will explain what field upgrades are for you. If you go down to right underneath your kill streak, you can select a field upgrade. For you, I think it is best for you to start with a munitions box. Munition box replenishes ammo and your grenades for your character. You have to wait for your field upgrade to charge in order to use it. The Tune Up perk lets your field upgrade charge faster. If you go up to your kill streaks, just leave them. I don't foresee you getting any skill streaks or core streaks. Core streaks, yes. I can words. I do not foresee you getting any kill streaks on your first game, since this is for new players. Now that your game is all set up, you have your weapon class. Let's go into the game. Your very first game for FPS. Select your first class, which should be the class with the Kilo X16, and then the cold-blooded restock tune-up perks. Lethal as a claymore, heartbeat sensor as your secondary, or as your tactical. And let's just run over here. You may be in a different part of the map than I am. You may have spawned in a different area. But I am going to sit right in the center of the map here. This right here is the center of the map. You can see on my screen that I am pretty close to center here. To be exact, right here is the center of the map, really. But you're going to start seeing some enemies coming around. Now, these enemies are very lazy. And they are not likely to see you right away when you look at them. But find your way around. I will do a run around of the whole map. That way you can kind of understand where you're at in the map. We'll just go down this lower area here. When you bust down doors, you can run through them, or you can open them. If you just run through them, it'll open on its own. Or you can hit your square button. For you, it might be a hold. For me, it's a tap. And it will open up the door for you. So there are two main spawn areas on this map. Oh, there's another. I promise you I'm not terrible at this game. So, for this map, there are two main spawn points. The main spawn points are this building. Footsteps. Sorry. I just don't want to die. Dying is not fun. Okay. So there are two main spawn points. There's this building, and then there's also where I spawned over on that side of the map over there. Over yonder. This blue building, it has an upstairs up here. You can, in fact, just sit up here and let bots walk up here. But I'm going to show you an even easier spot to do this. Given that I survived getting up there. Okay, so you can come up here.
Send recon. This is Falcon 3-0. Good copy. UAV beginning flyover.
Bots are not likely to know that you're gonna plant this claymore right here. So when they come up, they will probably die. They will trip this claymore and probably die. Make sure you place it pretty close to the steps, because as they walk up, they're gonna hit that claymore and explode most of the time. So you can kind of just sit up here now Don't forget to replenish your ammo. You hit both your front triggers at once in order to replenish in order to get your ammo box out. And if you look at the bottom right hand side of the corner, right above the claymores, that will keep your ammo box charged. So we're gonna go down here. We're gonna put this one right here. Now you may not survive going down there, but that's okay. Oh, rat shields. So a good way to deal with rat shields is to just shoot at their feet, or shoot them in the head if you have a good angle on them. Just don't. Also, when the rat shielders run, their shield uncovers their front part of their body. So if they run at you, there's your guy shooting the rat shielder and wasting bullets on them. Let's go down here and put the claymore back. Always make sure your claymores are good to go and they aren't gonna keep your ammo loaded. For you, it's going to be a tap. Did that not reload my ammo? Okay. For you, it's going to be a tap to reload your ammo. For me, it is a hold because my controls are set up a little bit differently. But if you tap your square button, that'll make you reload your gun. Your aiming button is your back left trigger. Your shooting button is your back right trigger. See how I was aiming at his head there because I had a good aim. Always aim for upper body. Unless it's a rat shielder who has themselves covered up. If you're experienced enough to do what I just did there, this video tutorial probably is not for you, but because you already are pretty skilled at FPS shooters if you know how to do what I just did. There's a guy underneath me, he's gonna hit the claymore. They did not hit the claymore. I am missing claymores. Okay, that was weird. Wait for him to run. And shoot. You might not even get a right shield. Oh, shooting from there, man. So just aim and shoot until you can't do it anymore. That's all there is to it for now. Make sure you stay loaded full of ammo. And just keep going. Enemy at the center. this claymore clearly isn't working.
All right.
No booty on the baby mon. Another thing you might see on my lower screen that there's a mount option. You can mount if you want. It will help your recoil a little bit. Your recoil is... That's another important thing. I'm sure by now you've probably learned how to fire short bursts like that. However, there are other ways to control your recoil. While you're continuously firing your gun, you can push down, not click, but push down on your right thumbstick, your aiming stick, in order to control your recoil a little bit. Because right now my recoil looks like this without me. It goes up and then to the left a bit. So there are other ways of controlling your recoil. But generally for this one, you want to go push down and then to the right. As just ever so slightly touching your thumbstick. Just ever so slightly moving it. Gotta treat it gently. Can't be rough on it. It's a delicate process. Now, effectively, I'm teaching you how to do what many players call camping. That is because you are new. I would not teach very many people how to do this. But this is your first time playing an FPS. This is a pretty effective way to play if it's your first time. Okay, so you get the gist of this? Alright. Good for you. Keep on going, soldier. I'm gonna call everything in. Starting with this. It has been fun. Keep on gaming. Don't be disheartened by the number of deaths that you have, by the way. Just keep working towards doing better. Anyway, that's going to be in the stream for tonight. I'm extremely tired. I will see you in the next video. Maybe I should just make that my channel name. Extremely tired. I'm going to make a meme channel now. That'll be fun.